Welcome everybody, my name is Rich McDonald and I'm here with Greg Rubin, head of Axi Select, and we're at the London offices of Axi. Greg, thank you very much for joining me today. Now Greg, last time we saw each other in Sydney, MetaQuotes had just started to crack down on the prop trading firm industry. Can you just run us through why that happened and what the vulnerabilities of the system were that led to that?
Firstly, Rich, good to speak to you again. Different country, but
that's right. Welcome to London.
Nice to catch up. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster the last sort of year in the space in terms of CFDs, other regulators, MetaQuotes, the brokers, prop firms shutting down. With regards to MetaQuotes, it's an interesting one. So they're the face of the prop firm industry in terms of providing the platform for traders to trade on. And there was a lot, if you remember, the grey labeling that was going on, and ultimately these prop firms trade through brokers and they use the broker's MetaQuote license. So MetaQuote has no visibility of who these prop firms are onboarding. And then there were rumors or strong views that the US clients were being onboarded, and ultimately we know CFDs are banned in the US. So from their perspective, they've pulled back because they clearly have come under pressure or being part of not having visibility of who they're onboarding. So they seem to take on less or to move away from brokers who are dealing with prop firms. And then these brokers rely on MetaQuote for their FX business. So they were then pulling away and not offering or pulling out of the prop firm space. So you were left with these prop firms who are looking for brokers and we're looking for platforms. And we've had a few that have entered the space, but without MetaQuote, it's very difficult. And we've seen that. We've seen the integration has not been easy. We've seen stories of being not able or very difficult to integrate. And without MetaQuotes, this industry is a very different place.
Yes.
And that's what we've seen with them at the moment. So interesting times.
Excellent. Now, when you created Axi Select in the first place, you did foresee this kind of thing happening. How would you say that you set up Axi to offer us a solution to this? What differentiation did you build into the program?
Yeah, it's a good point. When we set up Axi Select, we were aware of this model and the potential flaws in it, and we wanted to use our size as a broker to create a more trader-centric program. And I believe that's what we have done. We use live accounts, we don't charge a registration fee, and it's very important to differentiate us from this whole prop firm, as we often sort of put into that bracket, all these firms that are being shut down. And our model, as you say, is not anything like what we're seeing at the moment.
Now, transparency is often a concern in the financial industry. And looking around the office, I can see, transparency is right at the heart of Axi, even with the fishbowl meeting rooms. How would you say that you ensure transparency in Axi Select for the clients and the partners?
Well, that's everything what we're about. If you look at the way the program rules, program structure is set up, there are no traps, there's no desire, when there's no registration fees, because we're not looking to claim registration fees. And our model doesn't involve that at all. You look at what we have in terms of restrictive trading conditions. The only restriction is don't lose 10% and make 5%. So even that is in the trader's benefit. We're not looking to add high watermark levels, restriction on trading on weekend, restriction on trading on news events. We give those conditions that are conducive or give traders the best possible opportunity to generate profits. And I think that's a very important part. Trading is difficult. You're a trader, you know how it works. We would tell you it's difficult. We would tell you that unless you're a good trader, you're not going to make it to the pro stage. But what we can do as a broker is provide you with the tools to provide you with the best possible opportunity, and then ultimately it's up to the traders. Some will make profits, some won't make profits, but ultimately our job is to be transparent and to give you a fair opportunity.
And I remember when I was working for the hedge funds, we traded with Lehman Brothers. That shows you how many years ago I'm talking here. But you could double click and you trade on the price for any ETF basket. Now they switched this off over economic news, which was understandable. However, prop firms seem to stop you trading for 5 minutes after economic news, whereas Axi Select doesn't do that. And I think that's a big
Mm-hmm.
part of that transparency and the freedom that you're talking about.
But again, going back to the models, right? How does this industry standard prop firm, again, everyone's different, but the industry standard prop firm make money? It's by collecting registration fees. And why are we seeing some of these firms going bankrupt from a liquidity perspective is they're not getting enough registration fees in versus how much they have to pay clients who are generating profits. So if you allow traders to trade over news events, it's volatility. And volatility adds risk. And if you can't manage risk, you have the ability to handle risk, you do everything you can to limit that potential. And that's ultimately where these rules all come in. Why can't you hold trades over a weekend? Because you've got weekend gap risk. So you can see already when it comes to that, we don't have any of those restrictions. And that's on purpose, because ultimately we have an edge score that governs you as a trader. We know based on the edge score, the ability of the traders. And our job as a broker is to give them a fair and transparent trading environment.
Excellent. Now, with so many prop firms out of the way, how would you say Axi Select's positioning itself to take advantage of this?
So I think the way we've set up, we've looked at it from two angles. One is the prop firm space. We're very different. As I said, all live accounts, all controls as a real life account, no registration fees. You've got the additional tools. We're not just a funding program. We give you the dashboard, the leaderboard, the edge score. We have a trading room with weekly webinars. So we are set up as an all-inclusive prop firm where we can take advantage of our positioning in that sense, because when you look at the bigger picture and you look at who would or what would Axi Select appeal to, it's the difference in the prop firm space, but it's also traders and other brokers. You know, we have an Axi Select account, an allocation account, and ultimately the trader trades the Axi Select account like they would any other broker account. So if you're a trader at a broker, you might completely not like prop firms, or you might be ambivalent to prop firms. But you can still trade your same account, and if you're generating profit and you're advancing through the stages, you can access up to $1 million of alpha funds. And you know, it's not very easy, it's difficult to reach those high levels. But even if you have access to 20,000 of our funds, 50,000 of our funds, 100,000 of our funds, you get that without paying anything. So because of our nature and our size as a broker, we give the traders who are trading at brokers as well as traders trading at prop firms a reason to be part of the Axi Select community.
Now, some complaints that I hear and see in the trading room, for example, are that there's not enough information on how traders get that edge score and what develops. Are you going to adapt at all to give more information on this?
Yes, it's good that you asked that. We're actually very close to releasing what we're calling an edge score explainer. And what this edge score explainer is, it ultimately will show the traders their three most factors that are affecting their score and what they can do to improve it, and what the most they can improve it by, and what the edge score will be afterwards.
Wow.
And the solution, or the information that these traders get, are direct translations of the actual formulas that are affecting their score.
Okay. Right.
So that, I think, will make a big difference in terms of, you know, we've spoken about this in depth. We're trying to be as transparent as possible, but if we give the actual formulas away, then we're just going to be gamed. So it's a delicate balance between doing as much as we can from a transparency side versus opening ourselves up for abuse of the score.
Especially with the rise of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't give them the data to then game.
Of course, and of course EAs as well. So they use the AI to program the EAs, and then you've got EAs who are taking advantage once they know the formulas to artificially get high scores.
Okay.
So it's not a path we want to go down, but we are aware, and we are trying to do it from a transparency perspective to give traders as much more. Very hopeful this will be a step in the right direction.
Excellent. And tell us more about the trader segments that you're targeting. What kind of traders is it that you're aiming to bring to the system?
So again, I mean, very humbled by the success we've seen with Axi Select. but more so how broad it's been across the different regions, across the different age brackets, different type styles of traders. And I think that's a testament to the way it's set up, in the sense that, there's a reason for traders and brokers to join. They ultimately get potential to earn extra sums of money without paying anything. For traders who are trading a prop firm, there's a reason for them to join. They get a more trader-centric program as opposed to speculative program. So I think just by the way and design it's been set up, it really is a program that appeals to multiple markets.
Just as an anecdote to that, I was crossing the Middle East recently in Dubai, and I met a woman from Colombia who had previously been a bus driver, and she was on the Axi Select program, and I think her funding was over $50,000. So, as you say, all types of backgrounds, of countries that they're from, male, female. The great thing about the program is there's no issue with equality. You can be from anywhere, you can be from any background, and it's your score that counts, and that's it.
Exactly that. And it's also, we've tried to make it more as best inclusive as possible, in the sense that $500 is the barrier to enter. So as long as you have $500, you have the potential to work your way up the program. And as you say, you might not get to the $1 million, but even having $50,000 is a lot more than having $500 to trade. And that's the whole thing. Is every level on that program, there's a benefit. The seed stage, you get access to the trading room, you get access to the dashboard. Incubation stage, you start to get your first access to funding. So the purpose of the program is to have a reason at every level, as opposed to the thought process of what I need to do to get funded. Am I funded? Am I not funded? Those are the two levels the traditional prop firm models have, where ours are every level you're getting some form of advantage, whether it's access to information, whether it's access to funding, there's always something there.
Now, recently we have seen a bit of market volatility and uncertainty about the economy. How have you built the Axi Select business to ensure resilience throughout this sort of economic period?
So I think, volatility suits us in a sense. You look at brokers, what you ask any broker around the world, do they want volatile conditions or static conditions? Ultimately volatile conditions are beneficial. So whatever the conditions are, we've set up as a complement to the Axi broker segment. And that's exactly what Axi Select is. It's live accounts, free access to the markets, access our capital. We have a score that governs how good you are, and it tells us your level, and the higher the score, the more funding naturally we're prepared to give traders. So it's why we don't have to implement all these rules regarding weekend trading, news trading, because as soon as you start doing that, you're not giving the trader a fair opportunity. And for us as a broker, conditions should be exactly like they are, and we are set up to handle large volumes of flow as we do as our normal course of business for Axi.
Now, talking about market volatility, I have to ask, the morning that Japan was down 12%, the famous carry trade, that was probably the first test of this, how the system adapts to the shocks and the volatility. How was it? Do you have any funny stories from that day, or was it a nerve-wracking experience?
Well, that's the one problem about living in Australia. You wake up and it's all unfolded before you, and then you start to read up and sort of see what's going on. So I can't say I was at my desk watching it live.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, when you get these sort of, I won't even call it black swanning, but when you get these sort of knee-jerk reaction events, you always get that volatility in the markets and sort of the one-way moves. But again, from a business perspective, it doesn't affect us at all. It's volatile, as you sort of alluded to. That sort of volatility is not a negative for us at all. But yeah, it's interesting to see the strength that's come back off the back of that. But is that the first strike before we see there's always that, when you look back in time, it's like, well, obviously that was the initiation move.
Yeah.
Which started things all off, kicks things off. It'll be interesting to see when we revisit this in a couple months.
Absolutely.
Look, we're going into the election year. We're not far from the election. It's very rare to see such strong moves or breakdowns leading into the election. So if we are going to see big news or big events, I would not be surprised to see it after November.
How do you see the future of the prop trading model evolve through 2025 and even beyond?
Well, where we're at right now, we're at a very crucial point. We've got brokers who have entered this market and offering similar models to the traditional industry standard. We've got meta quotes who have pulled back, and we've seen some of these smaller firms trying to integrate with other tech providers. We've seen brokers like 8cap recently exit the space. So we don't know what it's going to look like in terms of how these guys are going to integrate with these other firms, if it's going to work or not work. The initial signs are it's not as simple as you would assume to just integrate. There's obviously a lot of love out there for meta quotes and to use another platform versus go join a prop firm that has meta quotes. Still, it's a difficult sell. So going forward, if you ask me how I see it, I would be surprised if it becomes more broker-led. I would be surprised to see some of these models change to be more trader-centric. And yeah, it's, I don't know, nobody knows, but every week, every month, it seems like another one of these firms are shutting down, and it seems all for similar reasons. So, interesting times, absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. Greg Rubin, thank you very much. And as we mentioned, the presidential race and the debate, thank you.
Thank you, Rich.